I'm going home, my tour is done. I'm going home, I'm a lucky one. But I've left friends behind me who won't come home no more. Yes, many friends remain forever on that bloody shore. But at night when I sleep, I know my dreams will be about my friends I left across the sea. I'll hear Verba, young and horn, laugh again out loud. We'll all be together in a happy crowd. But then I hear the sound of bullets whining overhead, feel the crash of mortars, and all my friends are dead. My friends, they fought and gave their all. My friends, they died for freedom's call. As my dream is ending, they'll come and say goodbye. Though I'm sound asleep, a tear I'll cry. And they say something which fills my heart with pain. Tell them about a saddler, don't let us die in vain. I'm going home, my tour is done. I'm going home, I'm a lucky one.
Stand beside her and guide I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart. And it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
And what year did you go into the military?
Oh, May 7 of 1943.
Okay, the Army?
Yeah.
Were you drafted, or?
I was drafted. I wanted to volunteer for the Marine Corps when Pearl Harbor got attacked, but I was colorblind. They wouldn't take me.
Is that right?
Nobody would take me, but the Army says, when you're ready, we'll take you.
Do you remember where you were during Pearl Harbor and hearing the news of the attack? Were you in school, or do you remember that time?
I think I was around the corner talking with the boys. I didn't even know what Pearl Harbor was. None of us knew. Mm-hmm. But we found out later on during the day what it meant. So right away, all of us were eager to go in. I was 16 at the time. And, of course, I went down. They didn't know I was 16 years old because I was big for my age. So when they put me the coloring books in front of me, he says, "You're colorblind." I said, what's the difference, colorblind? I said, as long as I can shoot and kill somebody, that's all you're interested in. So
in 43, you went in?
Went into 43, went into Fort Eustis, Virginia, for 13, 14 weeks. Then I got transferred to Fort Meade, Maryland for a month. Then I went to Camp Kilman, New Jersey, port of embarkation for a couple of weeks, and then we boarded the Queen Elizabeth and sailed across the Atlantic.
So were you gung-ho at the time? You ready to go?
I was at the time, but we're stationed in England, about got in England November, December, January, February, March, April. So there about 5 months. In May, they transferred us to Southampton. So when we got to Southampton, had a little bit of training there, and they took us on what they call a dry run, a make-believe invasion, to see how we would react. And then I realized we're halfway out. They didn't give us no ammunition, no nothing. I says, "What the hell are we doing here?" He says, "This is a practice run." I says, "A good thing it was a practice run because we fouled up." He says, then I met this guy, Benny, from the west end of Boston. He says, "Next time we meet, John, it's going to be the real thing." Because he came up through Anzio, Sicily, Italy, with the 1st Infantry Division. So the next time we met, I realized before we boarded ship, they gave us bandoliers of ammunition, grenades, and what have you. I says, "Oh boy, this is it." So halfway across, then we were playing cards, gambling, and singing, and what have you. And then they gave us the password for that night, for when we hit the beach. I'll never forget. It was thunder and welcome. So got halfway across, and about 4 o'clock in the morning, we could hear the big battle wagons opening up their guns. I said, "Oh, Jesus." I said, "This is it." So we waited out there until what they call a big Rhino ferry came along the LST that we were at. We loaded all our equipment on it, and then they started bringing us in. But as we were going in, you could see the Germans were shelling us. There was one shell that landed in front of us, one landed in the back, and I was waiting for the third one, so I went near the edge of the barge in case that thing ever hit. Either I get blown into the water or I get thrown in the water. But the third one finally never came. But as we got closer to the beach, but when we got off the LST to get onto the Rhino Ferry, they were playing Glenn Middle's music, American Patrol. And I felt pretty good about that until we got closer to the beach.
Would you go in on a Higgins boat?
No, I went on a Rhino Ferry. It was a barge about the size of a football field. They had all kinds of equipment on it. We had 4 90-millimeter guns on it, all kinds of artillery personnel and what have you. And then they pushed us into the beaches. As we were going, we could see the dead bodies along the water. I wanted to stop and help them, but I couldn't.
Now, did you go on an Omaha beach?
We were scheduled to go to Utah Beach. Then they changed their routers. We had to land in Omaha, what they call Bloody Omaha. It was a mess. It was one mess there. I mean, I never seen so much death in all my life. I mean, they gave orders for some of them to man the machine guns, and I guess they were all scared inside the tractor where we had, so I went upstairs and manned the machine guns. And when I shot, I don't know what the hell I was shooting at, but I was scared. And the first thing I was thinking about was, Mama, what do I do? She says, I could see my whole life going right in front of me. And I says, what the hell am I doing over here? I said, I don't even know these people. And here I am, we're killing them. For what? But finally, when I got my feet on the ground, I felt better. Then we went up to the top of the hill, dug in our replacements. We had to go in and give the 1st Infantry Division anti-aircraft support and artillery support whenever they called for it. But the sight of that beach was something that we remembered. It was terrible. It was terrible.
What was your MOS? What was your job in the Army? A rifleman or?
I was a gunner.
A machine gunner?
A gunner and a machine gunner. I was a marksman and a rifle and machine guns. But my MO number was 741. And you smell human flesh. It's altogether 2 different odors. And whenever I saw at Dachau concentration camp, I said to myself, how the hell could anybody do anything like this? I mean, the bodies were piled up. The furnaces are still going. Of course, the Germans all took off. They all took off. And to me, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you've seen Auschwitz and those other concentration camps, but when you're right there and you see it, it's altogether different than when you see it on the film. It has a different reaction on you. I mean, I cried all the way through. I was saying to myself, I can't use the language that I used then, but it was awful. It was awful. Kids, women, men, stripped naked, burnt naked, and it was terrible. It was terrible.
I can only imagine, man. I mean, I've talked to some men that have been to the concentration camps, and you're describing exactly what they saw, and it made a lifelong impact on them.
Well, there isn't a day that doesn't go by in the 65 years that went by that I don't think about it. There's always some thought that's in my mind at all times. Like I said to my wife, I says, 65 years has gone by so fast, it's unbelievable of what happened 65 years ago, and I can still remember to the day. Now, if she asked me what I did last month, I forgot, I don't know. But that's stuck in my mind.
You said the weather, you thought you were going to die.
The weather was so cold during the Battle of the Bulge that I was afraid of getting frostbitten feet. Because once you get frostbitten feet, then I'm thinking, hey, they're going to start chopping your toes off. I didn't want that. So I kept changing my socks. You couldn't dry your socks, but when I took off the wet socks, I put them in my pocket, put on a dry pair. And when those got wet, I took the wet ones out of my pocket and put those on. I kept switching. But, I mean, you wrang all the water out of it. I mean, they say the boots keep your feet dry, but they didn't. But it was so cold there, you were afraid your hands were cold. I went to sleep with all my clothes that they issued me. That's how cold it was. It was bitter cold. I've never seen cold like that in my life, even living over here in New England. It wasn't like that because I wasn't sleeping on the ground over here, but over there you were. You get 12 inches of snow falling on you while you're sleeping. You don't even realize it, and you wake up and everything is all white. And then trying to move your guns and that heavy equipment in the snow and try to get it in marching order. I had to fold up all the legs on it. because the 90 millimeter is a 9-ton gun. And you had an M4 tractor that weighed another 2 tons pulling it. So trying to pull that heavy equipment through the snow was tough. It was hard.
Did you sleep in sleeping bags or what? Did you have sleeping bags?
I had 2 army blankets. I sewed them all the way around, so I crawled in like a potato sack. But it was tough getting out of it when they gave you the orders to get up and start firing the big guns. Because while we're sleeping, they holler match pointers. When they say match pointers, we all get up. And trying to get out of that thing in a hurry, that's how I sliced my hand on an old sea ration can I used for an ashtray. I hit that when I got up, and I bled like a stuck pig. But that's how you had what they call pup tents. You had one guy had the other half, one GI had the other half, and you put them both together, and both you sleeping there. I had my experience sleeping with one bed next to me, forget it no more. I didn't want nobody sleeping with me anymore. So I went down the beach and I picked up a pup tent off one of the dead GIs. I had my own tent all the way through. Then most of the times, you try to barricade yourself under a tree someplace in case it snowed. Of course, you dug your foxholes, but my foxhole was so well camouflaged they couldn't find me. And it just covered the branches and snow and stuff, and you climbed right in and tried to get as much sleep as you could, but hoping that you don't freeze to death. But it was cold. It was a bit of cold.
Now, when you talked about not being able to help the wounded, I mean, that's just because you were supposed to keep going, or the medics would take care of them? Or
that's like when I got to go back when we hit the beach. When we on this my Rhino ferry, when we went in, I saw all the GIs floating in the waters, and then they were all lined up, all covered with blankets and stuff, you know, that were dead. I says, Christ, we can stop by and help them. But they wouldn't let you. You got to keep going. Says the medics will stay by and take care of them. Only one person I tried to help during the Battle of the Bulge. I walked down this cow path, and the Jeep was about 50 yards behind me. And all of a sudden I heard a big explosion. I turned around and the Jeep got blown on the other side of the bushes. And I went there and it was Jonesy, and his stomach was, and his face was down the ground, and then the back of his body had just opened right up. And all I did, I went up to him, blessed him, said the name of the Father, and gave him the last rites according to my Catholic religion. And they thought I was a priest. I said, no. I says, my religion, we give them last rites. And that night, we're under heavy bombardment, and the kid next to me says, Johnny, teach me how to pray. He was more scared than I was. So after a while, I just took it day for day. As if I was going to worry if I was going to get killed, I didn't have time to worry about it.
Wow.
So it's there were a lot of sights, dead people that were all over the place. That it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe. The Battle of the Bulge, I think we lost more men there than we did on the beach. On the beach, of course, the First Division went in with the first wave, and then we went in behind them to give them anti-aircraft support. And what I saw on that beach, it was terrible. I mean, after I got over the baptism of fire, I was all right. I was ready to fight. Of course, when I get in a fight with somebody, my language is the profanity language. I don't talk English to them. I mean, that seemed to give me the power when you get mad.
Well, that's amazing to me, listening to you and all the stories I've heard, and just imagining what it would have been like to have been so young and yet to experience that. I mean, how do you think your whole military experience changed you as a person?
Well, I looked at it this way. I went in as a baby. I was only 18 years old. And then I says, what the hell am I fighting these people for? Because I don't know them. But after that engagement was over, I graduated right away. I became a man. You know, you talk about killing somebody, and why are these people doing these things? And you try to communicate with them. Of course, with them, they had the Hitler power behind them. But come towards the end of the war, they were using nobody but kids. I mean, I was on guard duty, and I seen one German coming down the road, a gun in his hand. I loaded my machine gun on him, and he saw me, and he dropped his rifle and threw up his hands. I could have killed him. And I'm saying to myself, well, the war is almost over. As he got closer to me, he couldn't have been more than 15 or 16 years old. Because that was just the age I came in when I was on the Normandy beachhead. So I called the guards down, they picked him up, and they took him back. And plus all the prisoners that we took, we captured. It's in that commendation that we got. We captured over 900 prisoners and turned them over. guards. But I think when I came out, I was more educated. I understood what life was all about. When you want something, the freedom that we had over in this country and what freedom they had over in, overseas isn't to my expectations. I didn't like that type of a freedom. I don't want anybody dictating to me what I got to do, where I got to go, and what I got to say. I want to come and go as I please, and nobody stops me. But generally, when the war was over, I felt good about it. I did my part. I didn't get hurt. The good Lord spared me, and I was thankful for that.
And that's a question I'll ask is, why do you think you came back? A lot of people didn't come back.
A lot of them asked me, "Did you? If you came home as a hero?" I said, "No." I said, "The heroes are over there. They died for me." That's how I felt about it. I mean, I felt bad that we lost so many men, and seeing them all laid out on the ground there when we went by. But a lot of them asked me that same question. "Do you think you're a hero?" I say, "No, I'm no hero. I did what I had to do. I like my country. I'd still go back if I could. I want to go back with the Iraq situation." But they say, "You're too old to say, as long as I can kill somebody." That's all they're doing over there. That's how I felt about it. But if I had to go back, I'd go back for the sake of my grandchildren, so they wouldn't have to witness it. Because I don't think the kids today realize what it's all about. Not when we, in our generation, it was altogether different. They were an eager bunch of boys. Today, they don't seem to care. And that's my opinion.
Now, when you went through Dachau, how long were you there? Just a couple hours, or did you stay a day, or what did you guys do? I mean,
We were stationed around Dachau, probably a couple of days, waiting for orders. Because when you get to a certain point, you drop your guns, put them in firing position, get everything all ready. So when somebody wanted firepower, they'd call us, then we'd open up. Then a couple of days later, we'd move, go someplace else. But when they called us to go around, I didn't know it was Dachau concentration camp till I got there. When I smelled the death all around there, and of course, when you had a few hours that you could walk around to see what's going on, you reconnoiter the position, because I was on the demolition squad. I always went ahead in my outfit to blow open the holes, so when they brought in the big guns, they just moved them right into the holes, and it was all ready for them. And when I got there, then I walked around the place to see where we were at, and then I finally realized we were right by Dachau concentration camp. I think it was maybe about a mile away from where we were, so we walked over there, and finally realized what it was. And I went there once, and I couldn't go back again. It was, I can't think of the word. It was disastrous. Disastrous. You wanted to throw, I threw up, and you kept saying to yourself, how could Hitler do a thing like this? Of course, Auschwitz was worse. I think Dachau and those other concentration camps around Auschwitz were small compared to what Auschwitz was. So it was tough. It was hard. I mean, this has been 65 years ago. It's hard to remember, try to remember everything.
But that's a good question. How could that happen? I don't know if that can be answered. How can a man influence all those people to do those things? It's amazing to me. I don't know.
I think if Hitler had taken his time, he would have conquered the world. And with Alexander the Great, Caesar, and who's the other guy? When they tried to conquer the world, they got defeated. But my opinion, if Hitler took the time, he would have conquered the world. Now he got as far as France, that almost annihilated England. It wasn't for England for fighting back with a few Spitfires they had. Well, then by then, the Americans were sending over our troops and our planes over there too to help fight the Germans over there. But when we got there, the German planes weren't as good as ours. So, but if he had captured England, he would have came here.
It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
And you say to yourself, how can a man like that could take all these people that didn't like the Jewish people or the Jewish faith to burn them all? This is what I couldn't understand. Well, they didn't do nothing to him. So I don't know where to toss what to say about it. All I say is it was a terrible thing what he had done. I don't think he should have did it.
Did you guys have to stay in the camp those 2 days, or you just come and go out of the camp? I mean, I couldn't imagine staying around that very long. I mean,
Where's that, around our gun sites?
well, yeah. Did you stay at Dachau? You said you walked around for a couple hours, and then
Well, after the guns were all placed in position, some of us would walk around patrolling the area. We'd go out as far as a mile, a half a mile, make sure there was no German gun emplacements around there, machine gunners or snipers and stuff like that. You'd be walking around looking for snipers. And then we got to concentration camp, and I realized what it was.
you can actually see the ovens were still warm, or what you said they were.
They were still warm, yeah. And that's, I couldn't believe how they could put all those people inside there. Unbelievable. I can see roasting a hog or a cow or a pig to eat, but human beings.
Yeah, that's a fair. Do you ever ask God why that happened? I mean, that's amazing. People say, "Well, there's a loving God. How can something that bad happen?" Well, it did happen.
You ask to yourself, God, why do these things happen? You don't get an answer. Don't get an answer. And you often say to yourself, why doesn't he answer me? So it's something I was taught to believe in God, which I do, and I still do. But why did these things happen? I don't know. It's all up to that guy upstairs. I know someday, hope to meet him if I don't go downstairs.
I think it's a good question. I mean, but I'm actually going to be working on a story about the concentration camps too. On Friday, I'm going to interview 2 Holocaust survivors in Maryland for the first time. But I have interviewed several dozen men like yourself, veterans of the Battle of the Bulge, and that actually helped liberate the concentration camps. And I'm stunned by some of the things that you saw and you heard, and then the smell of that. It just, like you said, you never forget it.
It's something you don't want to smell.
Yeah.
It's a different smell altogether.
It was a difficult time talking about it too.
And if it wasn't for the Air Force that came over and they dropped the supplies, it would have still there. I'd have been buried over there. If there wasn't a break in the sky, because it was cloudy and foggy for a whole month. You couldn't see a hand in front of you when you get up in the morning. Of course, during the Battle of the Bulge, you're talking to a lot of GIs, and then we found out that the signs were all twisted around. And we said to ourselves, we came by here the other day. Then we passed Malmedy, and we were back there again. And then they told us, some of the Germans are dressed as GIs. You got to be careful who you're talking to. I said, I might have talked to some Germans dressed as GIs. I don't know. Because they talked fluent English better than you and I did. They knew about baseball, everything. And we might have passed them, which we don't know. Then we got the word that they were Germans dressed as GIs. But the only thing a lot of them realized, when an officer goes into combat, he takes his bars off. This one had bars on. And that's how they figured were Germans inflating through the lines. And once we found out who they were, well, we took care of them. But then they saw a bunch of them trying to sneak by at night, that they machine gunned them all. But it wasn't like what they did to our boys at Malmedy. I'll never forget that. And I'm saying to myself, I was just left there 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes after I left, they overran my position. But we had already gone. So that was that.
I don't remember if I asked you or not, but did you lose any friends that were wounded or killed during the Bulge?
I lost one, and we were retreating, and I told him, well, he didn't get hurt by gunfire. He rode on the barrel of the gun. I said, don't ride there. He says, we hit a hump in the road, you're going to get bounced off. Oh, I'll be all right. It came towards morning when we were retreating. I happened to turn around, we hit a hump in the hole, and he bounced off the barrel of the gun and fell on the ground. And 2 of the rear wheels of the aircraft rolled right over him. And he put his hands up because the tractor was almost going to go over him. If that track had gone over, it would grind them up like mincemeat. Well, probably about 3 days later, he had died. He came from Brookline, Mass, I think.
John said he didn't trust anyone to get that close.
And I didn't become friends with anybody that close, because they tell you, don't get too friendly with your comrades, because when they go, you have a different feel afterwards. You know, you have that gut. If you were my best friend, all of a sudden you got shot, I went over, there'd be somebody there waiting to pick you off too. He says, try to not to make too many friends. But that's the way I thought. I never trusted anybody. I mean, you trust your comrades. I trusted my outfit because everybody knew what the next man was going to do. That's why I turned down the Battlefield Commission. Once I became an officer, I'd have to lead green troops that I don't know what they can do. But my outfit, if I got hurt, there was always somebody there to take over my position. I knew everybody's position, what they had to do. Handler, fuse cutter, gunner, radar control and everything. Because once they holler match pointers, all the 4 guns match pointers, then all of a sudden all 4 guns are synchronized by radar. You all move at the same time. Because when they fire at a diamond pattern. But when you're firing at field artillery, there's always somebody a mile ahead of you, fire for effect to tell you where the shells land, and they tell you either right or left or back and forth. Hey, but
You mentioned freedom earlier in the interview. What if I were to ask you, what does freedom mean to you? I mean, what does that mean to you, John?
freedom to me is to come and go as I please, believe in who I please, and talk to who I please, and say what I want without nobody saying, hey, you can't talk that way. This country, you come and go as you please. Free liberty, free speech. Like they said in the Gettysburg Address. You come and go as you please. This is a country, you work, whatever kind of work you want to do, whatever girl you want to go out with, nobody can tell you what to do. That's how I feel. Walking down the street, hi Joe, hi Mary, hi, you got that freedom. But over there, they didn't have it.
Tell me about the price for freedom. What would you tell a young person maybe who knows nothing about the sacrifices for our freedoms, to protect our freedoms? You know, what would you say about the price for freedom?
Do you love your country? You protect it. If you have to, you give up your life. I was willing to give up my life so my brothers were all too old at the time. But for the sake of my nephews at those days, I'd die so that they'd be free. Because I knew when we were going to hit the beach, they told us, hey, some of us are not going to come back. So that you have that one thought in mind. And if you're going to stop to think when you're going to get killed or when you're going to get hit, but to me, that's what it was all about. I wasn't afraid to die, by no means. I mean, if this is what I have to fight for to keep America safe from the enemies, I would.
What do you tell the kids when you go up to the high school?
I tell the kids, a lot of times we go to the high school on Veterans Day, and I always tell them, this is my favorite remarks I made when I ran for class president in high school. Be thankful for what you have today, for tomorrow you may have none. Protect what you have, and appreciate what you have, and fight for what you want. And they all appreciated that. And I still feel the same way today. I mean, if they would have called me to go to fight again, I'd go. I probably won't move as fast, but I'd go. That's how I feel about it. So, like I said, just so my grandkids would have to face the reality of war and hardships like that. It's going to happen one day. It's going to happen again. Maybe not in my time, but sooner or later it's going to happen. I mean, it's happening now and over in Iraq there now. God knows where that's going to wind up at. And look at how many boys we've lost over there already for no reason at all.
What does the American flag mean and represent to you as a veteran, John?
That's a lot of thought. To me, when I see that thing flying, it means freedom for me. You see that flag, you salute it, you wave to it, you thank it for it. I hate to see people take the flags and throw them aside and stuff like that. But like they say, every time that flag goes down the highway in the parade, I always salute it at all times because I belong to the VFW, and we preach that all the time. I mean, we help all the veterans that need help. Whatever money we collect and funds and raising campaigns and stuff like that, we help the GIs at the hospitals. That's what it means to me. When you see that flag, I know I'm free. When that flag goes down on the ground, nobody picks it up. That's when I'm ready to fight. And I don't care what anybody says. Says, don't try to be a big macho guy. Says, hey, don't talk to me like that. To me, that's freedom.
Are you proud that you're a World War II veteran?
Damn right I am. Damn right. Proud of everything I did. I mean, I might have did some wrong things over there, but that I wasn't supposed to do, but who's to know? When I was damn proud, I was proud when I went in, I was proud when I came home.
Have people thanked you for your service over the years?
Oh, yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Great. Well, my son, I went to the World War II Memorial, and I had to bring my son as a guardian. And when he saw the first fella come up to me and says, thank you for your services, my son never saw anything like that, and he cried. He said, Daddy, I'm proud of you. So,
That's a good feeling, man.
it does. When they stop and tell me, of course, when they see the invasion of Normandy and the Battle of Bulge on the other side of the hat, then right away they want to stop and talk to you about it. You know, they talk to them briefly of what had happened. They says it was rough, but we managed to come home. But they thanked me for it, pat you on the shoulder and says, thanks again. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here today. That happens every time I go out. There's always somebody out there to say thank you, which is well appreciated.
When you see those old pictures of yourself, what goes through your mind?
You say to yourself, you find it hard to believe that you were there. And you're seeing everything's happening all over again. Of course, as I watch it on TV, of course, I get very emotional. And it's hard to forget. And you say to yourself, how the devil did I ever get back alive in one piece? Because I see a lot of guys come home with not a leg missing, an arm missing, or an eye missing, or some kind of wound that they got. But like, I must have been one of the lucky ones. I always was careful what I did and where I went. I never went souvenir hunting like a lot of them did. And that's how a lot of them got hurt. They stepped in a booby trap. Now, I remember one time, we were in convoy, there was a dead German on the road. I won't tell you what kind of position he was in. The way he looked, the captain says, John says, you'll move him. I said, I won't move him, that's an order. So I took a piece of rope, tied around his feet, backed off about 100 yards and pulled him, and it blew up. It was a booby trap. That's how I was. I didn't trust nothing, didn't trust anybody. Now, I stopped my own commander during the Battle of the Bulge. Did you realize who you're talking to? I said, yep. I said, now you advance to be recognized, and who's in the Jeep? He's my driver, Jonesy. Now you go back to that Jeep, and you walk in front of that Jeep, and have the Jeep follow you back in. And that's what he did. And so when they went inside, the boys were telling me, he says, Captain Young, he says, boys, he was glad you're out there on guard duty. He said, John won't let anybody get by. There's a lot of different things that happen that people don't realize. Now, when we got up on the Remagen Bridge, trying to cross the Rhine, there was a P-51 Mustang come over one morning. I was on guard duty. I was on the machine guns. And when the plane came by, it kept circling. Then the second time, he went on up, following, and he came down. As he was coming down, he didn't dip its wings. To say it was friendly, so I opened up on him. All it takes is one man to open up the machine guns, the whole countryside opens up. They brought it down. He says, who gave you orders to fire? I says, I fired on my own thoughts. I thought it was a German pilot in that plane. And when the plane went down, they went to pick him up. It was a German pilot. Stole one of our P-51s, trying to see what was going on. I says, when the planes come back from the front lines, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to dip their wings. Well, this one didn't. I said, no, you want to court-martial me? Go ahead and cause. I don't care. That's how I felt. I did something what I thought I had to do. Then I stopped another tank commander. He said, do you realize who you're talking to? I don't care who you are. I said, you realize where your barrel is facing? He said, it's supposed to be facing the other way. He says, oh, my God. He says, you're right. He says, these are the things I remember when they teach you in the service of what to look for. Because you talk with other GIs that have been through combat, they tell you these things, what to look for, what to be careful of. And it registered in my mind. And a lot of them, every time we went out on patrol, well, I want to go with John. I want to go with John. They come on me and says, you don't make no noise. So there's a lot of different things, a lot of different things I could tell you about it. But
You did good. Did you knock the mic off there?
just a mic.
Yeah, we're just about done anyway, so we'll just put that back on you here real quick. We're just about done though, okay? I had this on your shirt.